You know, we often think that being influential is all about having the right words, right? The perfect argument. But what if I told you that real, powerful influence has almost nothing to do with language? That it actually taps into something way deeper, something ancient, like a code buried deep inside our DNA. Okay, let's get into it.
So first things first, we've got to bust a major myth about how we persuade each other. It's a belief that's super common and completely wrong.
I mean, really think about it for a second. When you're trying to convince someone of something, what's your first move? For most of us, we immediately start racking our brains for the perfect thing to say, the most clever phrases. But is that where the real power is?
And check this out. This quote from behavioral expert Chase Hughes just flips everything we thought we knew on its head. He's basically saying that language, the one tool we all lean on so heavily, is actually the weakest link when it comes to real influence.
And you don't have to look far for proof. Just think about some of the most famous psychological experiments. In the Milgram experiment, you had ordinary people convinced to give what they thought were deadly electric shocks to someone else. Or, in studies on the bystander effect, people would just sit there in a room as it slowly filled with smoke, and they'd do nothing. In both of those crazy situations, there were no magic words, no brilliant speeches. Something else was pulling the strings.
So, what is that something else? To find out, we've got to go deeper than our conscious thoughts. We need to look at the oldest, most primal parts of the human brain.
And here it is. This is the absolute core of it all. The most powerful forms of influence don't talk to your logical brain, they go straight for the brainstem. That's the part of your brain that's been running the show for millions of years, and it's obsessed with just one thing: keeping you alive.
It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know that pyramid? When our most basic needs down at the bottom, things like our physical safety, food, shelter, when those things feel threatened, our higher-level rational brain just checks out. It takes a back seat. We become impulsive, predictable, and way more suggestible. Our survival instincts just completely take over.
And these instincts, they are not random. You can think of them as our ancestral memories. They're basically survival programs, hardwired right into our DNA. Why? Because they worked. They kept our ancient relatives alive long enough to pass on their genes. And those same programs are still running in the background for you and me today.
Okay, so the target is clear. That old, primitive, survival-obsessed part of the brain. The big question is, how in the world do you actually do that?
How do you get past the gatekeepers of our logical mind? What are the secret keys, the triggers that bypass all our critical thinking and speak directly to those deep-seated survival instincts?
Well, this is where the FATE model comes into play. It's a simple but really powerful framework that breaks down the 4 primal entry points into the human mind. FATE. It stands for focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. These are the levers that turn on our deepest ancestral programming.
All right, let's dive in and pull back the curtain on each one of these triggers, one by one.
First up, and honestly, this is the big one: focus. You can think of it as the currency of influence. If you can't get someone's focus, nothing else you do is going to matter.
So why is focus so important? Well, our ancestors survived because their brains were hardwired to instantly zero in on 2 things: potential threats, like a predator hiding in the grass, and potential value, like a source of food. That same wiring is why today our eyes immediately dart to a clickbait headline promising a solution to our problems, that's value, or to an urgent news alert about a threat.
All right, next on the list, authority. Our response to anyone we see as an authority figure is so deeply programmed, it's pretty much automatic.
For our ancestors, disobeying the tribal leader was a death sentence. No joke. It meant getting kicked out, losing protection, losing food. So our brains developed a shortcut. When a credible authority figure gives an order, our default setting is to just obey. It's why we automatically listen to someone in a doctor's white coat or believe an article with a fancy title next to the author's name.
The third pillar is tribe, and this one taps into something we all feel, that powerful, almost desperate need to belong to a group.
I mean, think about it. Back in the day, being part of the tribe was everything. It meant safety, food, a mate. Being an outcast meant you were on your own, and that was that. This is why we have such a powerful urge to conform, to fit in. It's why social media trends spread like wildfire. We are wired to see what the group is doing and, well, get in line.
And finally, last but definitely not least, we've got emotion. And listen, emotions aren't just, feelings. They are the engine that drives our memory and our actions.
The best way to think about it is like this. Emotions are like little chemical tags. You touch a hot stove, right? The pain creates this powerful emotional tag that screams, danger, avoid, and boom,
Your brain creates an automatic script. This is exactly what our ancestors did to pass down survival lessons. They tagged experiences with emotion so we'd quickly learn what to run from and what to run toward.
So what happens when these triggers, focus, authority, tribe, and emotion, get pulled? Well, they fire up these little programs called behavioral scripts that run in the background, totally beneath our conscious awareness.
And there are basically two flavors of these scripts running your life. You've got ancestral scripts, the ones we're born with, like flinching at a sudden loud noise. Then you have life scripts, the ones we learn by doing something over and over again, like driving your car without even thinking about it. Both of them are designed to save brain power, but they can also be hijacked.
And this all boils down to 4 key rules, kind of the operating manual for these scripts. If you interrupt someone's automatic script, you instantly create focus. If you want to create automatic behavior, you tap into one of those deep ancestral scripts. But maybe the most important rule is this. If you want to lessen a script's power over you, you have to talk about it. You have to drag it out into the light of your conscious mind.
So, you see, this knowledge isn't just about understanding how to influence others. It's really about understanding yourself. It forces us all to ask a pretty heavy question. When you make a decision, is it really you making it? Or is it just a million-year-old program running in the background? Which hidden scripts are running your life?